Hello, everybody. Starting to trickle in here. Okay. Another Florida, Tampa. Welcome. I've heard of Hillsborough Community College.
All right, it's the top of the hour, so let's get started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy Bryant from Earlham College, and I'll be the moderator for this session entitled Accessibility, Equity, and AI, What's New and Where Are We Going? We have a code of conduct that we'll adhere to for this conference. I've just posted the link to it in chat, and if you experience any issues regarding conduct, please contact the conference administrators at the email listed in the chat. Please, your microphones are muted. At the end of the session, we will have Q&A. Please wait until you are invited to unmute before asking your questions or making your comment. You may also use chat for questions, and there is a QA feature at the bottom of your bar. You can click, and it makes it easy for us to keep track of the questions that are asked. This session is being recorded. You can enable captions by clicking the Show Captions button at the bottom of the screen. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Robert Gibson from Wichita State University Campus of Applied Sciences and Technology. And I'm going to turn it over to Robert now.
Well, great. Well, thank you, Amy. And it's great to be with all of you. And so great we have such just a very broad, diverse group of people with us today. That is awesome. So as Amy said, we're going to reserve questions to the end, but she's going to monitor the chat and the Q&A for me. So please feel free to go ahead and spin those up if you'd like. And then we can be answering those toward the end. I've got a pretty packed agenda of things I want to talk about today. So we have about 40 minutes. So it's going to be somewhat rushed, but the slide deck will be available for you after the session, after the conference. So with that, I'm going to do a quick screen share. And Amy, is that coming through okay on your end?
Yes, I can see it just fine.
Okay, great. As Amy indicated, this session's on accessibility, equity, and AI. What's new and where are we going? A little bit about me. I'm the Dean of Instructional Technology and Design on our campus. I've been a graduate faculty of instructional design. I hate talking about myself, but I just give you a little bit of background where I come from. 35 years of instructional design experience. I used to actually teach in a library science program too, where we were at. I was at Emporia State for a long time. If any of you are familiar with their program, I taught in the library science program. I've been a CPACC, which is a accessibility certified accessibility specialist for about 6 years. Creative Commons. I teach courses for Creative Commons. I'm a Quality Matters Master Reviewer. I'm on their advisory committee, and I'm also an AI program faculty for EDUCAUSE. I help facilitate courses in prompt engineering for EDUCAUSE. Recently, I wrote a paper which actually surfaced as one of the top read papers of last year. I was kind of surprised to hear about this 10 ways artificial intelligence is transforming instructional design. You go out and take a look at it. It's publicly accessible if you want to read more about that particular topic. And I'm particularly dialed into the accessibility piece. And I'm going to be writing a paper about this very topic for EDUCAUSE here coming up pretty soon. So a little bit about today's agenda. Again, it's going to be pretty rushed. I apologize because there's quite a few things I want to cover. Clearly, we want to talk about ethics, bias, privacy, and equity, and how that intersects with today's large language models and AI. This should be top of mind for everybody and a concern for everybody. So I want to get your thoughts about that. Affordances of AI in the accessibility community, talk about some of the new things that are happening, which are very exciting. I'm very much a glass is half full on this. I think that AI is going to very much help the accessibility community going forward. So I'm excited about that. How it's being used in libraries, just briefly. I've got some live demonstrations of some AI products. And then I'm going to share several new AI accessibility developments and products, and where are we going from here? So before we do that, I would like to ask you a question, and I'm just going to ask you to chat this in. I pull up the chat here. Are you a 1, a 2, or a 3? So this is sort of a self-survey. 1 is you have some knowledge of AI, but for the most part, you're not an active user. 2, you've used AI on occasion. perhaps for specific activities, but you're not a power user. And 3, you consider yourself very proficient with AI and use it daily for a variety of tasks. So 1, 2, or 3. Let me take a look at the chat as they're coming in. A lot of 2s. Ashley's at 3. Beth is a 0.5. Lauren's at 1.5. Oh, you guys are getting creative on me now. Okay, good. Looks like it's kind of averaging out to about a 2 is what I'm seeing overall, which is good. That's fine. You don't have to be any particular proficiency level for this session. I just wanted to get a feel for kind of where you're at. Let's see here. Make sure my script. I wanted to make sure this is a little bit off the beaten path, but I wanted to make sure you were aware of this. As I was doing my research for this topic, I happened to bumble into this really great blog, and I didn't see anybody from the Georgia system here yet. Maybe you've joined us since, but this is an awesome blog. I've got it pulled up here that you can kind of take a look at. It's not specifically topic related for today's session, but it was so good that I would be remiss if I didn't share this with you. And again, it's going to be in the slide deck, so you can take a look at it later. But it's from the Georgia Public Library System. It's AI in libraries. And I'm not going to go through here in any depth or anything. I just want to kind of scan through here very quickly and just share with you some of the really great information. It's here. I share this with our librarians as well as like, oh man, this is really good. You got to check this out. This is really good. Benefits for AI libraries, applications. They give you some tools to explore down here. Of course, some of them are just publicly facing LLMs, but there's some other cool things too, like the Watson Discovery, Google Cloud Vision, TensorFlow, which I started to take a look at that a little bit as well. How libraries are using AI and so forth. So I would definitely encourage you to take a look at that after this this conference is over. I thought it was outstanding, actually, very, very nicely done. So I've got another question I want to ask you. Another little quickie poll here. So there's really kind of 4 areas that we sort of classify a taxonomy of how AI is helping disabled people. One of them is assistive technology, which we're going to go into that in just a little bit here. So AI-powered devices, speech recognition software, smart home devices, so forth and so on. Improved accessibility. So audio descriptions for videos. You've used Zoom, you've got closed captioning, automatic closed captioning, that's AI derived. Enhanced medical care. So devices that can monitor people's health is all typically AI built. And then increased employment opportunities. So to help match people with disabilities with specific employer needs. So of those 4 things, assistive technology, improved accessibility, enhanced medical care, or increased employment opportunities, just use a 1, 2, 3, or 4. You don't have to type the whole thing out. Which do you think is the most important? There's no right or wrong answer, by the way. Just want to get a sense for where you're at. You think that number 1, assistive technology, 2, improved accessibility, 3, enhanced medical care, 4, improved employment opportunities is first and foremost the most important consideration. This one I expect to be a little bit more scattered. I doubt we'll have any commonality. Okay. As I suspected, kind of all over the place. Really, lots of 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, I just wanted to get your pulse on that to kind of see where we're at, because that's a really important consideration. Let me back up here. So one more. I've got 3 of these little quickie polls here. So what is your biggest concern regarding AI? And again, we're going to use a 1, 2, 3, or 4 ethics instead of guiding principles that stakeholders use to ensure artificial intelligence technology is developed and used responsibly. Bias. And by the way, bias, if you look at the image on the left-hand side that you see on your screen, I used a product called Midjourney. I use it all the time to develop these images. And this is probably a classic case of how these AI tools can generate bias. I asked Midjourney to generate an image of a young professional nurse in a Wichita hospital. It was a pretty nondescript prompt for a image generation tool. It didn't have any specifics about age, race, gender, height, weight, somatotype, anything like that. Just, give me a picture of a nurse working in a hospital, something like that. This is what it generated it does it in fours. 4 different images, and look at the commonality of all of that. I didn't ask for it to produce a specific somatotype, that is to say the height, weight, hair color, hairstyle, hair length, nothing. All of these images were all generated through AI automatically. So it negated all sorts of other conditions and variables. This is a classic example of bias. This is what happens with some of these tools. This is the type of thing that it generates. It thinks that all nurses are 30-something-year-old with blonde hair and basically 5'3". So that's something we have to sort of guard against. Privacy, the practices concerning center around ethical consideration, storage usage, and then equity. This is sort of the equal access to the technology, right? So the digital divide sorts of issues. So 1, ethics; 2, bias; 3, privacy; 4, equity. Which is the biggest concern you have? Just go ahead and chat those in, if you would, please. 1, 2, 3, or 4. The 1 is surfacing a lot. Interesting. Okay, interesting. Okay, good. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Privacy. So I'm surprised privacy hasn't come up more. Interesting. One of those things maybe we take for granted a little bit. I don't know. Where's your information stored? How is it stored? How is it repurposed? How is it utilized? That type of thing. So good. Okay, well, thank you for indulging me with one of those questions. I really wanted to get more about that. So a little bit about accessible design. Really, basically, this improves, you do a design for one audience, and you can actually scale that to other audiences as well. So the classic condition is solve for one and extend to many. There's really 3 buckets of accessibility or disability, as it were. So there's a permanent disability. That's a person who is either born with a disability or has some sort of an onset later in life of a disability, which could be debilitary. So it could be a car accident, something like that. But there's really no remediation, right? So it could be a quadriplegic. A temporary is a break an arm or break a leg, but there's some process of getting back to some normalcy. And situational, which is maybe a maternal situation, right? So somebody that has an infant that has the need for accessibility for curb cuts, those types of things. That's one of many possible examples. So there's really kind of 3 buckets that we put accessibility issues into. But if you solve for one, you solve for all of them. Essentially, you can extend that to any one of those audiences. The interesting thing is that AI can now has the ability to automatically adjust or adapt to the conditions in any one of those 3 things I just mentioned before: the permanent, the temporary, or the situational. So things like image recognition, speech recognition, natural language interaction, or NLP, natural language processing, all of those types of things can be done basically on the fly. We didn't have that capability just even a couple of years ago. This wasn't really even a consideration. You had to basically design for one particular type of accessibility, one particular type of condition. So you put captions out for one audience, but guess what? A lot of people use captions for a lot of different types of conditions. So it's not just one audience you're designing for anymore. And the cool thing is that AI can basically adapt on the fly for that. I'm going to sort of pivot around here just a little bit. I've got a lot of ground to cover, but if you haven't attended this particular, it's a free session. They do it every year. It's a Microsoft thing called the Ability Summit. I strongly encourage you to take a look at it. The link is on the slide. You can go look at their recordings and their resource deck and all of that sort of stuff. It's really worth it. They have a great accessibility program with some really great thought leaders in this area and doing quite a bit of development work. So after this conference, if you're interested, I would definitely encourage you to go take a look at this resource deck and sort of check that out. So we're going to get into just a little bit here. I want to play. Oh, what I forgot to do is share sound. Let me stop share real quick. Bear with me and make sure that my sound is on. Got to have that. Okay. I'm going to play this little short video for you here. Hopefully the audio is going to come through. Amy will tell me if it does not.
AI has a massive opportunity to help people with disabilities like me.
I'm going to show you some of my favorite features that help improve my productivity on the daily basis.
And I'll just go into Copilot and say, summarize this email.
I'm able to really use my voice through the microphone and voice access that's built into Copilot. I say, tell me the changes in accessibility for the past month.
I'm going to launch Word.
Describe what you'd like to write, including notes or an outline, and Copilot can generate a draft to help you get started.
In this case, I'm going to ask it to write about the history of computer science.
History of computer science. Generate. Skip draft for Copilot.
One of the things that is challenging when you have dyslexia is writing. So to help with that, I will ask Copilot to write a draft email. I'm going to ask it to still keep my tone because I want it to sound like me, and I want it to be short, asking Mary to do a pre-read of the document. And it's now generating a template email, which is short and sweet, which is a brilliant productivity enhancement for me.
When I think about generative AI, I think about things that I've done in my 20+ year career in accessibility that we've not been able to do before now. And some of these things are literally life-changing.
This process without Copilot usually takes an hour, but this took 3 minutes. It's important to give me the time back to work on the things that I love. And generative AI does that.
If you want to make AI more accessible and better for you, use it and provide feedback. I'm excited about the possibility that it will help bridge the disability divide.
So some of these things I'm going to share with you today have kind of a Microsoft twist to them. I'll be honest with you, I do a lot of work with some people that are on the Microsoft team in Europe in the accessibility side. So I have a little bit more of a slant toward that, but I use GPT every day. So all of those tools are sort of in my wheelhouse. So, but if you see a lot of Microsoft stuff, I just wanted to give you a heads up as to why that is. So there's a part of the new courses that are coming out now that Microsoft has a thing called Microsoft Accessibility Fundamentals course. I would encourage you, if you're interested in this topic, to take a look at this. The course has been out there for quite a while, but just as of last month at the Ability Summit rather, they introduced 2 new modules, the fundamental AI concepts, and by the way, this is all free. And they also introduced the Create Accessible AI Experiences module. There's 7 modules in totality, 3 hours to go through the whole thing. You can earn a digital badge when you're done if you're interested. You can actually download the course. They let you download it, and you can then plant that into your own environment. So you don't have to use it on their site. You can actually take it in, download it in totality, and put it on your own hosting agent, and then just use it how you want. So you can put it into a LibGuide or whatever you wanted to do. There's some additional links and resources that are available for you as well. So take a look at that. I want to also talk a bit about some other really interesting developments that are happening with respect to audio description and how this tool is now being built on top of the large language model set. I'm going to play another video for you. I apologize. Got a lot of little videos here for you. They're very short, but this is pretty exciting stuff. Audio description has been a challenge for us. Audio description, if you're not familiar with that, are the things which not are just the captions, but the other sort of ancillary types of sounds and noises and activities which are happening in the background. So you sort of capture all of that as well. So let me play this for you.
Audio description is something that enables me to be able to watch a program or a film and get as much out of it as everybody else who is sighted.
A white car drives down a road, hands on a steering wheel.
I see art as a collective good. I think everyone should be able to have access to art. Audio description really helps me get the full experience.
A portrait of a group of 17th century civic guardsmen in Amsterdam.
The challenge, though, is that there are limited amounts of audio descriptions being incorporated across media and entertainment.
Tech and AI have the potential to bring the blind and low vision community into the fold.
So at WPP, we really care passionately about opening up access to content to people in a way that they want to consume it. The tool that I've made is an application that allows you to upload videos, and on the other end with GPT-4 with Vision and as your AI services, you get your video back with spoken narrations over the top.
Kitchen scene with cat and Hellmann's mayonnaise.
This makes audio descriptions cheaper and faster. Our goal is to be able to offer this product as a service for all of our advertisement campaigns.
There are so many artworks in the Rijksmuseum. There are almost 1 million. To describe ourselves, it would have taken hundreds of years. With AI, we can do this in a matter of hours.
The subject is a male with a reddish beard and mustache. Visible brushstrokes that add texture and movement.
The first time I heard audio descriptions, it just brought me delight. It was this opportunity of, oh my gosh, I'm seen. Through the power of AI, we're able to do things only dreamt about until recently.
When we strengthen our access to culture, we strengthen the culture itself, connecting our shared humanity.
So I think about something like that in the context of a library and having the ability, if you have collections, special collections, that type of thing, having the ability to have the large language model layered over the top of your special collections to be able to do these really wonderful audio descriptions of the various types of artifacts and things that you have in your collection just opens up a whole new world of opportunity. Amy, let me take just a quick pause and see if there's any burning questions. I know we're going to wait till the end, but is there anything that is just super outstanding that I need to answer?
Nope, no questions right now, so you're okay.
Okay, great. Well, moving along then. One of the really exciting things, and it was mentioned at the onset, was the how this is going to affect people in their daily lives. So things like smart homes. And there's a really wonderful blog I would encourage you to take a look at. This image actually is a link out to the LinkedIn blog where you can take a look at that. This particular researcher, and I forget her name. I thought it was on here, but it's not. But anyway, she's just done a really nice job of this is sort of her niche. And she focuses on accessibility and smart home devices. Things like, you can see the list there: voice activated assistants, smart lighting, smart thermostats, smart security systems, smart appliances, home health monitoring systems, assistive robots, customized home automation platforms. So really what starts in the home typically will find its way into mainstream and also find its way into things like libraries. So there's a very good chance that if your library doesn't have it already, or your workplace, there's a good chance that you're going to be seeing these types of things going forward. Obviously, somebody can't control the thermostat, one patron, but there are other sorts of devices, smart devices, that people can use to help support them in these types of the situations or these environments. More about the accessibility copilot. This is a link out. Let me see if I can open this up real quick here. So this has some really wonderful vignettes of how AI is, and this is particularly in the UK. I reached out to my contact there, and he shared this with me. This is kind of a preview link. Not many people have seen this just yet, but they've got these little wonderful vignettes, and I'll play one for you. They're very short, of how people are using AI in some context, right? So a couple of them I'm going to play for you is this fellow up here, Adam. And he's going to talk about, he has ADHD, and so he's going to talk about how he's using Copilot or AI for help support what he does.
Hi, I'm Adam Gernan, based in Melbourne, Australia, but originally an Irish native. Having been diagnosed with adult ADHD, it now makes so much more sense as to why every time I go and use Excel, and pivot tables specifically, it feels like I'm learning it for the first time, every time. So what I'm going to show you is how I'm able to use Copilot to be able to get me to a draft version that is so much easier for me then to be able to edit to create exactly what I need, rather than having to learn it all again. So let's ask Copilot to create a D&I report that will show gender by country in the countries that we operate in. As you can see, it's now created that. So much easier now for me to be able to add to that the ethnicity and put it where I need it so that I get the outcomes that I need to be able to compare for the two. This is my Copilot. How can yours help you?
So I won't in the interest of time, I won't go through too many more of these, but these are all these little vignettes of how a large language model, specifically Copilot, but it could be extracted to any of the major tool sets, how this is being used in conjunction with sort of common daily tasks. The Copilot is nice because it is integrated into Microsoft 365. So it's going to be sort of native to Word and PowerPoint and Excel and those types of things. So it's sort of part and parcel of that environment. But again, if you're interested, you could take a look at that, those experiences and use cases later on. Azure, another Microsoft technology. This is how they are layering in cognitive captioning services through API calls. So live captions, content reading, translation, voice control, and image description is all being sort of baked into some of these products. So these are common products that you're probably all using. So Teams, the operating system itself, Windows, Stream, the browsers, Word. This is a translation tool, so forth and so on. It's even built into Xbox in some cases, so gaming applications as well. And even LinkedIn now has image description capabilities as well, PowerPoint. So all of these tool sets that you see are all sort of now part of, basically part of the core operating system and the core Office application suite. A really cool tool recently launched, is still sort of kind of in beta. It's called Ask Microsoft Accessibility. So let me hop out here and show you how this works. You can ask any question about any particular thing, like how do I, if I can type, make Excel accessible? So you can ask any question that you would like. And this is using, of course, AI on the back end. We'll give this a minute to generate. Taking a little longer than that. Well, while that is cooking, I may head up to my next slide and come back to that. That's taking a little longer than I thought. Probably my internet connection here. Tell you what we'll do. We'll come back after that's done generating. But I want you to see that that's a capability. It's still in beta, so it's probably still a little bit raw. One other thing I want to share with you here, get this toolbar out of the way for just a second, bear with me, is a really interesting tool that was built on ChatGPT 4. Let me see if that's come back. Yeah, it's still working on. Oh, here we go. I had to come back and check. So how do I make Excel more accessible? So check accessibility while you work, check create accessible tables, add text cell to A1, add alt text to visuals, so forth and so forth and so on. I won't take the whole time to actually show you this generate, but you can see that just a simple question will allow you to generate more accessible documents and things very quickly. What I was going to share with you with that next slide is what's called Accessibility Copilot. This was actually developed by Joe Devon, who is the head of GAD. That's the Global Accessibility Awareness Day, GAAD. You may have heard of that. It's a big event every year. In fact, it just finished here just a month or so ago. So Accessibility Copilot is a custom GPT. If you're not using custom GPTs, you have the ability to do that now with the newest version of GPT 4.0. It's free. You can actually build your own custom GPTs. Formerly, you could only do it with the paid version, which is what I'm on here. But now it's open to everybody. And so he created what's called the Accessibility Copilot. And rather than going through the labor of showing this from scratch, I'm going to use one of his existing example sets. What he has done is he's actually tied his Copilot into the WCAG standards, the Web Content Accessibility Guideline Standards 2.1, which is sort of our current baseline for making sure content's accessible in all manner of web products and mobile products, that sort of thing. And so what you can do is actually cut and paste code and put it into raw code, native code from your application, website, what have you, and put it into here, and it will actually tell you if it's accessible and will match out or map out to the WCAG standard. So for example, I'll just click on his example here, if it's going to do it. So he's got a sample chart. So it's actually going through and it's identifying, actually it's using 2.2 standards, pardon me, I thought it was 2.1. This is the latest standard. So it's actually going through and doing a chart analysis. Oops, sorry, it refreshed. So it's missing elements. It'll actually tell you or give you an idea of where the missing element is to make it accessible. It gives you the corrected code to be able to put the correct element back in its place if you'd like to do that. So there's the highlighted changes. But it tells you the success criteria for that particular problem that you may be having. So this is called Accessibility Copilot. There's a number of these that are available. This is probably the best one that I've seen currently because it ties directly into the WCAG standard. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. Amy, I'm being mindful of time here. There's a great press book. I won't take time to go out here now. We don't have time in this short session, but afterwards, if you're interested, there's a great session developed at a great press book developed, pardon me, at the University of North Florida, UNF, on improving accessibility and inclusivity. It's a very short read, but it's a really great handbook, press book. And if you're interested in this topic, I would encourage you to think about developing a press book or an OER for your own particular environments based around sort of this topic. This is, I think, a lot of opportunity to do some self-publishing in this area. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that. If you're a programmer type or you work with programmer types, I would encourage you to take a look at GitHub, as was called GitHub is a resource repository for programmers. They do a lot of code sharing. They actually have a Copilot built into GitHub now, where you can test your code for accessibility. So you can, as you're developing code interfaces or coding, you can put that into this particular tool that will actually check for accessibility and that framework before it actually goes live. So it's a really cool. They do a lot of presentations with Microsoft as well. So it's a really great tool. I have to share this with you, and I thought I had it up ready to go, but I don't. So I'm going to. This is just a mind-blowing sort of a little tool here. It's called Astica. Let me hop out. I'm going to close GPT down for just a second. This tool came into my world not too long ago, actually at an accessibility conference. I'd never heard of it. This is sort of in prototype, but you can kind of take a look at it. Let me just give you a little bit of an idea how this works here. They've got some really interesting tools here. Let me see if I can go to the vision. I'm going to detect, describe, and caption. Okay, so we have some sample images here. We have a car and a phone and a dog. So let me just click on the dog here. You can upload your own images as well. And it's going to go through and actually do an image description. It's generating that now. If that takes too long, I might just actually go to the view sample instead. Let's just do this one. So this is 5 young people sitting here as using this image description tool to actually read the 5 people in the image, and it gives you their sneaker types, how many are wearing sneakers, how many are wearing a watch, how many males, how many females, their approximate age, a description of the image, and so forth and so on. There's some additional captioning images that are generating now in real time down here. So all of that from this image that you see right here. So this is scary and exciting at the same time. If you have a very complex image where you need to have some sort of image description of it, you can upload it into this Astica tool, and it'll actually go through and give you this very detailed AI-generated image description for anything, really. It's really quite phenomenal. You can go in and play with it for free. You don't have to create an account or anything like that. You can actually go in and actually sort of mess around with this. It's called Astica. So I would encourage you to take a look at that if you're interested in this AI-generated image description tool. There's another one tool that you can take a look at later called the AI2 Computer Vision Explorer. It does similar things. Frankly, Astica is much, much better. But this is another type of tool which does that same type of thing. So it helps you as content developers, bloggers, putting together newsletters, that type of thing, to actually go through and generate image descriptions. Another short video, I'm just going to play just a few seconds of it. MIT has developed a tool for called BizText for captioning complex charts. Probably the most difficult thing there is to caption is complex charts, but they have developed a tool. I'm not sure if it's in the mainstream yet for doing that type of thing. So I'll just play just a very brief video so you get the idea.
Hi, I'm Angie Bogust, and I'm excited to share with you a new dataset for chart captioning called VizText. Charts help us communicate data, and that became especially apparent over the COVID-19 pandemic, as we all use charts like this one to motivate public health decisions. Chart captions are particularly important because they help readers properly interpret the data and understand the chart's takeaways. Good captions contain various levels of semantic content, including low-level information about what is being plotted, as well as higher-level content that describes the relationships between data points and synthesizes important patterns. These differences in semantic content are important in deployed chart captioning systems, where different users may have different preferences. For instance,
okay, I don't have time to share the whole thing with you, but I encourage you to take a look at that later. This tool is pretty stunning. It can actually go through and take these very complex charts and tables and graphs and be able to generate a very, very detailed image description for somebody who happens to be visually impaired. Very exciting stuff. Microsoft is working very closely with OpenAI, the ChatGPT people. They've just recently rolled out Be My AI. They had Be My Eyes for a long time. It's a tool that's been around for quite a while. It's a mobile phone which helps you, helps a person who's disabled to be able to tell what they're looking at. For example, a good example is currency. How do you know if you're looking at a $1 bill, a $5 bill, or $10 bill, a $50 bill, whatever, if you have a visual impairment? You can't tell from touch or smell or other senses. So what this tool does, you can point it at that particular currency and it will tell you exactly what it's looking at. Same thing would be applicable in the library. It could actually help you. You think about all the stack. They could actually go in. You could point at a particular book or an article, whatever, and it'll actually tell you what you're looking at. So they're actually layering in ChatGPT into this tool, which is very exciting. There's an example here, but I don't have time to share with that today. Play My Emails, another tool which was developed in conjunction with the disabled community. It's actually extended out to everybody now. This is, remember, one of those situations where you build for one and extend to many. So now everybody's using this. If you're driving in your car, it'll actually play your emails for you. But it was actually designed specifically for people with disabilities. So it's actually a tool that you can download and use. This is an exciting tool. I want to share this with you. This is NVDA's called the Non-Visual Desktop Access. This is a screen reader. It's very much like JAWS. Those are two of the common tools. NVDA is free. This guy has developed this exciting add-on. I got to play this for you. This is pretty cool. I saw this. I was kind of blown away.
Hey everyone, I'm Cameron, and today I want to show you something that I've been working on. It's an NVDA extension to describe content on Windows using AI. And it's for blind users of NVDA Screen Reader who usually would get descriptions based on content author's addition of labels or alt text. This is different. It adds another layer of description on top of that can be requested on demand. So for example, if I go to Google's homepage and I navigate to
Google number lock, link store, link Gmail, click a graphic seasonal holidays 2023.
I navigate to the logo, which is an illustration that is described as seasonal holidays 2023. And this is maybe useful, but probably could do better.
Getting description.
So I'm requesting a description from Gemini's Vision API. And
the image is a Google logo with a holiday theme. The letters are decorated with colorful lights and ornaments. The background is white.
This is a big improvement on what the description was previously and is complete and accurate. The other interesting detail here is that in addition to describing web content, you can describe content
list
on the desktop. Anywhere. So
getting description.
I'm describing the icon for the recycle bin. And
Mac recycle bin 1 of 10. Getting description.
And built-in label is recycle bin, but if I request an augmented description,
The image is of a recycle bin. It is a blue and green icon of a trash can with a recycling symbol on it. The recycle bin is labeled with the text recycle bin.
okay. So I only did that to illustrate that this is not limited to web content. It's anywhere on the desktop. So for example, if you wanted to run this while playing a video game or while watching a movie, you could do that and get
Okay, so you get the idea. I'm not going to, just a couple of seconds left there, and Amy, I'm on it. Would you believe I'm actually on it? A couple of things here we'll kind of wrap up with, and I'll give some time for question and answers. So there's another tool you can take a look at in the slide deck called Speak to GPT, which is a freely accessible feature. Synapse is a really cool tool. I just kind of started to explore this a little bit more. This actually uses live actors, real people who are deaf and hard of hearing. Doesn't use synthetic actors, which are very unrealistic and sometimes have 10 fingers. This actually uses real people, but it uses AI to stitch together the alphabet, if you will, so that when you're doing automatic signing, this tool can be engaged. It's a company, Synapse, but it will actually do the signing automatically for you based on an AI algorithm. So it's real people, and they get paid for doing this. So win-win on that particular thing as well. You can take a look at this later. This is a lip reading recognition tool built on AI. And I'm just about done. Axe Dev Tools, which is a very important set of tools that we use for accessibility checking, now has AI built into that. In fact, I saw a presentation recently at one of the conferences, I think it was the AHEAD conference, where we expect that these checkers that do checking of accessibility are actually going to be so sophisticated that as the page is being developed or generated by the author, it will actually check it automatically on the fly. So we're going to start to see these. It's not going to have to be an after fact where you go back in and check and then do corrections, do remediation. It'll do it automatically for you. It'll actually correct it on the fly as you're building a blog or website. So it's pretty cool. I'm getting real low on time here. Let's speak. I told you I have more than you could possibly imagine here. Oh, I got to share this real quick. Visiting is actually developed here at this institution. Visiting is a graphic AI reader, so it does graphic novels and comics. It was actually built here at Wichita State by this faculty member. You can take a look at that. I think it's free to download. And it actually will read back. One of the most complex things is graphic novels and comics because of the panels. Super, super hard to do. So Visiting actually will take care of that. Wonderful consumer-based products. This is Sam Latif. She's with Procter and Gamble, I think is where she's at. It's exciting stuff. She can actually use her phone to actually detect. She's blind. You can use it to detect products in the store. And it tells you where the product is on the shelf among all the other products, and will actually tell you the ingredients on the product and the directions for use of the product. It's being rolled out by the companies themselves. I wish I had time to show you the video, but you can take a look at that later. Speech recognition project being developed at the University of Illinois in conjunction with these major companies, which is helping for people with Parkinson's, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. This is all done with AI. And I've got my last slide here. Me. Whoops. There we go. Okay. We have a little bit. I ran a little long. I'm sorry, Amy. So any questions I can help answer? Sorry, I had to scream through that real quick.
There's two quick questions. One came up right before you showed the tool that described diagrams and charts, and it was, do you know whether Astica will provide image descriptions for diagrams and charts?
That's a great question. I don't know that, but you have piqued my curiosity. I'm going to go out and try it and see if Astica will do that. That's a wonderful prompt for me to go do that. I don't know, and I won't fool you that I do know, but I'm going to go check.
The second question is, do AI screen readers like NVDS content descriptor need to have items in a readable format, e.g. PDF with OCR?
Would you repeat that question? I didn't quite understand that.
Yeah, do screen readers like the NVDS content describer, do they have to have the documents already in an accessible format, like a PDF with the optical character recognition data in it? Or
I don't
think the answer is no.
believe that they do. I think that it will actually help to actually generate that for you is the way that particular tool works. So the answer is I don't believe you do.
Okay, how accessible are AI tools themselves? I'm especially interested in image generators such as Midjourney and DALL-E.
Yeah, well, the large language models themselves are very accessible because they're text-based by nature. So that sort of automatically and inherently makes them very accessible. I've checked on this, by the way, in case you're curious. DALL-E and those particular things do not do any sort of image description. So if you are generating with Midjourney or DALL-E or those types of products, you will have to probably upload that into something like an Astica or something like that to be able to generate the image description. Or you could do it manually as well, but it depends upon the complexity of the image. That could be a little bit clunky. But if you're asking me if it does it automatically, not that I'm aware, and I use Midjourney all the time, you'd have to do that, sort of post development.
And we have one last question. Do you know of any tools for ADHD executive dysfunction?
I don't know any specific ones. I do know that certain tools are known through research to not ADHD specifically, but autism. Anybody on the autism spectrum, there are specific tools. Actually, chatbots are known to actually be very supportive of people on the spectrum. But I don't know about high executive order on ADHD. That's a great question. I'll make a note of that and try and get that back to Amy, the moderator. Maybe we can answer that. Is there going to be a place for answering these questions later? Because I would like to follow back up on these. Or
I think you might be able to add it with your slides, perhaps.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Upload the slides, yeah.
I'll go do that.
So I think we're at the end of the time. We're going to stop the recording, and keep in mind that there's another session later at the top of the hour, and the program continues tomorrow too. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.